Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me on The Art and the Artist. I'm your host, LA Phil. On this episode, I got to speak with collage artist, painter, musician, and just all-around great human being, Phib out of Minnesota. Now, the artists that I've interviewed, I'm a fan of, or I wouldn't have reached out in the first place. As far as collage art goes, to me, Phib is top-notch. He's the absolute best. When I came across his artwork online for the first time, I could have sworn it was either a painting or digital art. The work that he does is so seamless, I couldn't tell the difference. The beautiful landscapes that he creates transports you into another world. A world that you've never been, but seems familiar, if that makes sense. I'm so excited to share this interview with everyone. Like I said, one of my absolute favorite artists. So without further ado, I present Phib.
All right, man. Well, thank you, Phib. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this, man. It's funny when you agreed to take this interview, like I texted my wife and I was like, oh man, like I've been looking at this guy's art forever. I'm a huge fan of it. Like I kind of fanned out, man. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. I mean, I haven't done an interview in a little while, so I'm excited.
All right, cool. Very cool. All right. So where are you located? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm in Minnesota. I'm in St. Paul.
Okay. Oh, awesome. You know what? I went to Minnesota not too long ago. I'm a huge Prince fan, like crazy Prince fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I went to Paisley Park on my birthday a few years back. Oh, it was awesome. I had a great time in Minnesota.
Was Prince still alive when you visited?
No. I wish. This was maybe about 4 years ago, something like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You know,
so
those
it
Prince
was.
parties?
What's that?
The legendary Prince parties that you hear about, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Those
you know,
are
that's
real.
that's what the tour guide was telling us. And so we got to, we went through his house and we got to go. He has a full-blown movie studio. I guess that's where he used to have a lot of his parties and a club in there. It's absolutely nuts. Like I've a couple different music studios. It was awesome.
Yep.
It was awesome. I had a great time.
Yeah, I had some friends who, because I used to make music, that's how I got into collages. But
Okay.
I had some friends that were at plenty of Prince parties, and I was always just like, I am terrified to go to a Prince party. Not that I was ever invited, but
no, yeah, that would have been cool because he didn't drink or like do drugs. He didn't serve alcohol like in the parties or anything like that, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah,
but yeah, all right. So
but
let's
sure
talk.
Knew how to.
Mhm.
He sure knew how to host a party. That's it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got to hold it. They let you hold one of his guitars. You have to wear these white gloves, like you're holding like the Mona Lisa or something.
You get isotoners on.
Yeah, pretty much. And it was and no pictures though, which kind of stinks. No pictures inside, but they let us keep the white gloves, which is great.
That's nice. That's a good memento.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so let's talk about the reason we're here. Let's talk about the collages. There's so many to choose from. I wish I could say which is the one that that got me hooked on your art, but I don't even know where to start. So the first question that I wanted to ask you is, you use like vintage magazines. You say that is there a reason for that? Because I think you have that written down somewhere, but I was looking at it and I was looking at the attire of all of the like the subjects in your collages, and I was thinking, oh, this is kind of old stuff. So I wasn't sure if you were just downloading pictures from the internet, but you're actually using actual magazines.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm already on video, so
geez.
My apartment is a total mess. My whole very cold Minnesota life is a total mess right now, but
of an artist.
I have so many books in that Geos, and I've been trying to get rid of National Geographics, to be honest. Because at a certain point, you've gotten everything out of them. I've probably gone through each National Geographic 10, 15 times, and I have every edition between I think 1935 to 1975.
Oh geez. Whoa.
And
okay.
Yeah, so when I started out doing collages, I just kind of scoured eBay for good deals on yearly editions, because the local bookstores would be like $2 an issue, sometimes more, sometimes like $5-6 an issue.
Wow.
And that's just ridiculous, because you can get them on eBay for like $25 shipped.
Oh, that's great. Oh, that's
which
awesome.
Isn't that bad.
Yeah.
So
$5 a pop.
I definitely took advantage of that. But I also really made an emphasis on trying to get like unique materials and like different publications. And the reason that I stick with the vintage stuff is because there's a certain grain to it.
Okay.
When you're dealing with like a really new piece, like this one is 1948.
Okay.
And you'll see like deep into it. I mean, that's just a watercolor painting, but just the publication, the ability that they had to actually print their definitions, they use this grain little grid.
Okay.
And it works so well to give off this really warm, cool feeling. And you can also get a lot of really cool cuts just with that being like the underlying texture.
Okay.
And with newer prints, that is gone, and it's really high def, and the cutting it out just doesn't look as cool, and it doesn't mix with old pieces a lot. So you really, as a collage artist, have to pick like, am I going to do vintage shit or am I going to do more modern shit? I pretty much go through and I cut out everything that I think is cool, and I just have hordes of pieces of paper and stacks of cutouts, and it becomes monotonous. I cannot lie. It gets difficult sitting down because I've already like looking through the books 10 times is one thing, but looking at the same piece of paper 50 times as you keep flipping over. Usually, you know, the idea will come to you eventually, but a lot of times I'm just sitting there like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I like it.
So when you're starting a collage, do you have a general idea of what you want the landscape to look at? Or is it you see maybe a couple images and just kind of build around there?
That.
Oh, okay.
I've found that when you try to set out to make a specific image in collage, especially in the way that I do it, you just kind of pigeonhole yourself looking through material that fits your idea, and you could literally spend an infinite amount of time trying to find that one piece of material that will work. And it's difficult because sometimes I'm trying to make a simple collage that is seemingly really simple. Let's just say it's a person climbing on a rainbow or something. That person that's climbing on the rainbow, really, when you set out to find that person, it can be an impossible task. Because, I mean, and this is like what's cool about analog collage is that there is no resize, and there is no Command Z, and there is no filter changes or anything like that. So to find that one person that will fit right on the certain rainbow that I found and stuff is nearly impossible a lot of the time. So you have to be, I like to call collages like reactive creativity.
Okay.
Because you have to like, you're still within the confines of what the photographer thought was art.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And inadvertently, I've definitely picked up a understanding of photography composition and how photography works in different settings and portraits and landscapes, abstracts, and stuff like that. And like, I try to use that to my best advantage in collage, because it is important to like empirically respect what makes these collages realistic. Because obviously the style of collages I do, whenever I'm telling someone like I'm a collage artist, they normally just think that I'm like a Mod Podge master and the pieces are just a bunch of fucking tiny little scraps to create some sort of a composition.
Okay.
And then when I show them it, they're like, what is this? Like, this looks like a real photo.
Absolutely. You know, when I first saw one of your works on Twitter, I wasn't sure if it was a painting or like some kind of digital art or something. And then I'm like, oh, these are collage. And then I think it says collage artist on your description. And I thought, oh, this is absolutely incredible, because the scenes that you set, it looks like they look like, I mean, obviously, you've got, like this one called Oasis that I'm looking at now. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, this looks so real. I would have, if I didn't see collage artists, I really look into it, I would have never known that they were collages. I mean, they're perfectly put together. It looks like it's all one complete, piece, instead of, different pieces cut out of the magazine. It's absolutely awesome. Yeah, this Oasis. Yeah, this Oasis one is one of my absolute favorites. Yeah, this is great. So what got you into
that one?
Oh, go for it. I'm sorry.
Oh, that particular one is like the one where I would also say is the most realistic collage that ever came together.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And I'm using a couple pieces that are actually pretty modern in that one. The dunes are from like a book from the 2000s, I believe.
Okay.
Which is about as far as I'll ever go. But it works out because dunes are just, it's sand that's already full of grain, so I guess it works out.
Uh-huh.
But okay, what got me started into collages was music. In college, I didn't like college.
Yeah.
I went for economics and music business, and I ended up finishing my degree. But during it, I was like just pissed at myself for being in college.
Yeah.
And I rebelled in that respect by trying to make a bunch of music and like being a really good producer and making it on my own terms and stuff. Yeah. And I wasn't doing bad or anything. I was doing a lot of local shows and stuff.
Okay.
But I was a very project-minded person.
Okay.
I had all these projects and I really wanted good cover art because I've always really held that on a pedestal, and I've wanted to be an artist most of my life. Like I've always pursued art, but I come from like, your classic Midwestern family that believes that art is not a good means for a life and that I'm just going to be poor. My grandpa was an artist.
Oh, really?
He was not a very, he was the kind of artist that was like, I need to struggle to be a good artist, and I need to like leave my family and go live in a van in California and sell my art. So I can have a story. And everybody hated him for that.
Yeah.
And he never saw how like selfish that truly was.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of my family has just been like, yeah, your grandpa was extremely talented, and all he did was make his family resent him, and he's very poor. And yeah, I mean, so it's like, it's not the greatest family motivation.
Yeah.
They also do support me like better than, your unsupportive family would. Like, it's just, good old fashioned Midwestern support.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I needed good cover art.
Yeah.
And I had seen a couple pieces of collage art pop up through I think on like dubstep covers. Because when I was really young, like high school, I liked dubstep. I thought it was the coolest thing that ever happened.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And that obviously came and went. But there was this one cover in particular that always stuck with me, and it was Collage. Yeah. And I started talking to my friends about, I'm just going to start making these collages on my phone. And I started doing it, and they were easy to do. The style was nice. I felt like I had like a good vision of it. Okay. And then I couldn't not make them by hand. So I just started slowly collecting them and just getting the confidence to do them. And the first like 200 I did were on like cork board. Okay. And with glue sticks, really bad glue.
Yeah, yeah.
And they just fall apart. Like,
yeah.
I have old ones. You pick it up and like the pieces just fall apart. There's air bubbles everywhere.
Yeah.
But I did make some of my better collages. Like I have this collage that it's one that I don't necessarily like to have in my repertoire because it's pretty much it's a big hand pushing a cocaine pile, and I'm simulating it to be a wave pushing a sailboat.
Oh,
and every time I post that, there's a couple other people that have used that sample because it's the cover of a National Geographic. It's not like a hidden sample.
Oh, okay.
But everybody that has used it in a good way gets a lot of engagement every time they post it.
Okay.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
And they get mad. They get mad that anybody else has had this idea. But
this was ridiculous. Yeah.
I know. This is like the 5th collage I ever made. And still it's one that, like, if I post, I just get a bunch of weird support and just like weird comments about it. And then people say that I stole it from people that, you know, their version came out 2 years ago and my version's 6 years old.
Yeah, right. But you stole it.
Yeah. But the early days of collage was really fun because I had no idea what I was doing. And I was doing a lot of really experimental ideas within collage. Not that a lot of them were good, but it was all just basically to have nice cover art, to make my songs look cool.
Wow. Yeah.
Not that they ever did that. No barking.
Cover art matters, you know. It really does. It's as a former musician that was told to get a real job also by their parents. Cover art can really make an album, you know. Even the cover art makes some bad albums stand out, you know what I mean? But
that's true. They always say when you're in a record store not to buy an album because you like the cover art, but I disagree. I found one of the best albums I've ever found.
Oh, really?
Doing just that.
Just the cover art. That's dope. Hold on. What album is it? If you don't mind me asking.
It was called No Better Time Than Now by Shigeto. He is a jazz and electronic artist from Detroit. Well, Ann Arbor, but Ann Arbor has a really strong jazz scene.
Okay.
And the music is beautiful. I highly suggest you check it out. It is, if you like music that sounds anything like that.
Yeah.
Like Flying Lotus. Yeah. Fortet. Stuff like that.
Yeah. I like Flying Lotus. Okay. What's the name of the album you said? I'm gonna write this down.
It's No Better Time Than Now.
Okay.
By Shigeto. SHIE or SHIGETO.
Oh, here we go. All right, I'm gonna give this a listen to later today. Awesome.
And then as soon as you Google it, you'll look up the cover art and be like, "Oh, I see how someone would pick this up in a record store."
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I see it right now. Yeah. No, that looks cool. Absolutely. Oh yeah, that's very dope. Very dope. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, that one makes sense. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So when you made the transition from music to getting, you know, more serious about your art, was that I'm not even sure if this is, did you have to have a change in mindset? Because I feel like the two are sort of related. But was there a different approach that you had to making music than making art? Or sort of the same kind of creative, you know, mindset that you're in for both?
I've always been if I'm passionate about something, I really rail my head into it.
Okay.
Fast and as hard as I can until I feel like I'm good at it. So I kind of did the same thing. With music, I didn't actually know much about music or music theory.
Okay.
I just kind of like bought Ableton, surrounded myself with people that know music well, and learned the programs and studied music like an unhealthy amount.
Yeah.
And I did the same thing with collage. I would spend every day making collages for like 4 or 5 hours. I would try to go to bookstores or thrift stores at least 2 times a week.
Okay.
I'd study the medium like every day, every night, artists that I like. And yeah, I mean, when you do that, you know, you do set yourself up for success, but I like had the time to do that.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
And if I didn't have the energy to do that, you know, it never would have happened.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you got to, your heart's got to be all the way into it. Yeah.
Yeah. And people like always ask, how do I get into collage? And I tell them everything on the technical end, but I can never convey without sounding like an asshole.
Yeah.
How much of a real commitment to the minutia of the medium, and this really goes for anything.
Yeah.
The minutia of the medium that you're getting into is so important to make yourself stand out and to like really feel delved into that medium.
Okay.
It's like after 5 years of collage, I was very surprised how many things that I was still pushing myself to learn and to just change a couple small things to make that much more of an impact on the general output and what my collages look like just sitting there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And like, it's the same thing with music. Like, if I wasn't passionate about music, I wouldn't have learned it. If I wasn't passionate about collage, I wouldn't be doing it. And now really my passion is probably more towards painting than collage.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I see all of the paintings on the wall in the background.
It gets hard.
Are those yours?
Yeah. Yes, these are mine.
Jeez, another ripple to the wave that is Phib. That is awesome. Okay.
Thanks, Sam.
No, I don't know. I'm a bit of an art nerd, man. I grew up downtown Los Angeles, right? And there's no teenagers there, you know. So when I was like, I grew up 14 to like the age of 14 to 23, and I grew up in an arts district. So there's a bunch of, you know, young artists there, but there's no teenagers there. So I would just walk around all the time because there was really nothing to do. And so I walk around and there's tons of graffiti art down there. There's the brewery, there's this thing called the Brewery Art Colony, which is super cool. It's an old Pabst Blue Ribbon factory, and family bought it, I guess like around the Depression, like shit, you know, everything went to shit, and there was just a bunch of abandoned buildings downtown. And so the family bought it. It's a huge complex, and they only rent to artists, which is super, super dope. So like you can't live there unless you're an active artist, which is pretty cool. And they have art shows. So, you know, I'd walk around there and you know, and it's just always stuck with me. My dad was an artist. So yeah, so excuse me for if I sound like, you know, if I sound like the asshole, actually.
No, definitely you don't. Trust me. I've been around plenty of artists. Oh, hold on one sec. I need to.
I did want to ask you about.
I think we were talking about just.
Oh yeah, how I, you know, try not to sound like an asshole when I talk about art. Yeah, that's and it's
it can be hard not to.
Yeah, you're right. You know, it's funny. I went to a museum so maybe like 4 or 5 months ago or something, and like I usually go by myself because some people don't want to, you know, stay in there and sit down and look at a painting or sculpture for, you know, 15 minutes. And so I was looking at this one piece, and I wish I knew the name of it. It's this crazy giant porcelain Michael Jackson with Bubbles as monkey. I mean, it's like, it looks wild. It's beautifully crafted, but I was just looking at this like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. And there was these two guys, and one guy knew everything about it. And so like I got a little closer to him, and then I asked him a question. I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, man. Like, I don't even know you, man. This is the time of COVID, and you know, I'm just rushing up. I need to learn about this thing." But he was super cool, and it was a nice guy. So, you know, it all worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but art could get kind of like that. You know, you have snob. I'm not like a snob or anything. You know, if I like something looks cool, then, you know, then I like it. That's it. But people do get snobby.
And I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of art doesn't need to be complicated. It doesn't need to be filled with pretension to be valuable or even worth sitting in front of it for 15 minutes.
Yeah. yeah, really. Because especially modern art, because I feel like people, I would say not so much anymore, but an older generation will see, okay, I like Van Goghs and, you know, and Monets and things like that in the more modern style. is kind of lost to the older generation, I think. Because even when you think about Jackson Pollock, that wasn't that long ago, you know what I mean? And even so, he was not considered, you know, by the people of that time to be some kind of, you know, innovator or anything like that. But now it's, you know, it's, I'm sure he has more fans now than he, you know, ever did when he was alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all you know, subjective. Okay, I did want to ask you about if you don't mind me switching subjects real quick. objkt.com. That's a mouthful. And why you use Tezos in particular? Because I was go for it. Let's
I mean, do you have more to the question?
Oh no, that was pretty much it. Yeah.
Well, so I don't think that NFTs is inherently a bad thing.
Yeah. Okay.
And I've been monitoring because, you know, my art is pretty. A lot of times I don't glue down all of my collages because it's difficult to find the material. So I like to keep my good pieces sacred until I feel like I have a really good collage that it's time to glue this baby down.
Oh, okay.
So because of that, a lot of times I don't have the opportunity to scan, or I don't have the opportunity to, you know, sell an original for every collage that I make.
I see.
And I've watched the NFT scene kind of grow, and I really just don't like the Ethereum network, mainly due to how horribly inefficient it is.
Yeah.
If you mint an NFT on Ethereum, you usually are paying a couple $100 of gas fees, and that's a real cost of energy.
Yeah.
And that is not sustainable or ethical, in my opinion. And Tezos is carbon neutral. Our phone conversation is taking up more energy than that. And I've been looking at another network, Solana, as another option. And I don't have that many like friends in crypto or anything. And Tezos in particular, the chain just seems like a nice place for artists. A lot of people that are on there aren't just trying to buy art to make a 5 times flip, you know, and and just make a bunch of money off of it. A lot of times people are losing money. They're just kind of supporting artists to support artists.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I value that. Like,
yeah.
I mean, we've seen a bunch of similar markets emerge where it's like, you're not really buying much of anything, you know?
Yeah.
You are like, for instance, my little brother spending $1,000 on Fortnite skins.
Yeah. $1,000? That is wild. All right.
I know. Trust me, I know. And as much as I was like, dude, you don't need to do this. I don't know why you're doing this.
Yeah.
You can do so many other things with your life. And
yeah.
But he saw the value in it. Yeah. And he wanted to do it. So it's like, I can't knock it. But there is legitimate, like, it's cool to be able to prove your ownership over a piece of art. It's cool to be able to have someone care enough to buy that. Or even, you know, an edition of a bunch of them. And while selling physical prints, I've noticed that a lot of people do value digital prints, whether or not they're ever going to print it or not. I've sold a fair amount of digital prints to people. And I guarantee not all of them have went out and printed it. Yeah. They just have a nice copy of in good quality of a piece of art that I made. And at essence, that's still kind of like an NFT.
yeah, it really is. Yeah. Especially if they're just gonna sit on it. That's wild. Okay.
Yeah. I just think Object is a cool potential network. I don't know how long it'll be around, but I'm just trying to dip my toes in places where I don't feel like I'm an eco-terrorist.
Yeah. I was trying to read up on Tezos, and I didn't really know much about it. I mean, I know a very, I guess, the base amount of knowledge of crypto. I would say probably more than just like average guy reading about it, but I'm no expert. Yeah. And so when I I was looking through your site and I saw you're using Tezos, and I was like, okay, let me look into this. So then I found out, oh, this is much better for the environment than using Ethereum or Bitcoin or something like that. And I thought, okay, well, this is great. If I'm, and I always tell people, if I were to buy an NFT, it would solely be because, like what you said, I would just be doing it to support an artist, right? I wouldn't be trying to, quadruple what I paid for it or anything like that. And so when I was reading about Tezos, okay, all right, that's, if I do it, or when I do it, because I mean, I eventually will, that's going to be the place. It seems like they're trying to do, they're trying to do something good, which matters, trying matters. I mean, I think it seems like they're real conscious about the effect it's having on the environment.
Yeah. And a lot of the other blockchains like Ethereum and Solana, even though Solana is carbon neutral, the general vibe of Solana is like a bunch of dudes trying to make a bunch of money off of art that isn't art. It's just generative. And I understand the bad optics that gives the entirety of NFTs.
Yeah.
But with Tezos, it is just a bunch of artists putting out their own work, not making and not to say that there isn't generative projects on Tezos, but they don't have that much support.
Yeah.
It's definitely an artist friendly and artist focused platform, which is cool and rare.
Yeah.
We don't really see that on Ethereum, and if we do, it's like at the Christie's auctions for way too much money.
Yeah.
And like Tezos in general, if you put $25 in it, you could buy 50 NFTs.
Oh wow.
So it's like the barrier to collecting artists' work is so low.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize it was that.
Which is how it should be. Yeah. I mean, Tezos is $4 a coin. And a lot of the NFTs you see on there are going to be around 1 to 5 Tezos. And it really just depends on how many editions that they're making. So a lot of times you can buy it, collect a bunch of people's work, and really not spend any money, where that is not the case on other networks.
No, not at all. Yeah. Yeah, because I was I just kind of browsed through just some general art and was it Foundation maybe? And like, how much is this? This is wow. I mean, don't get me wrong, like actual artists, like people whose profession is art, make as much money as you can. I've got no problem with that. Even if someone is going to flip whatever you made 100 times over, you'll still get, money from that. But this is what you're doing. This is your job. You're really not doing it to be, I hate the, like a crypto bro, you know what I mean? Like I hate to say it, but artists like that, I totally get it. And, this might be blasphemy, what I'm about to say. And I'm sorry to the artists if you hear this, like the crypto apes and the crypto punks. Like I don't get it, man. Like I don't understand.
I don't get it either, man.
No sense to me, because I'll see an artist post digital art. I'm thinking this is, granted, artist subjective, but this is 100 times better than one of these apes. And but why is this ape worth $450,000? That makes no sense to me.
I wish I could give you a good answer that isn't so sad to hear, I mean, and did you see the recent stuff about the Bored Ape Yacht Club just being just littered with a bunch of racist and alt-right.
Oh, really?
Like, I can link you to I'll link you to and this wasn't met well, like with people that hold the apes and stuff, and they just hated to hear all this, but empirically, the evidence is pretty hard to refute that there's not some sort of at least shittiness in the dev team. So I mean, I've always been a little skeptical about all the ape projects anyways. It just doesn't seem, the optics are weird, and I don't
it's very weird. because when I first learned about NFTs, I thought, oh, this is going to be great for artists, but then I see that, like, I don't know who's making these, who's designing these, but I can't make the same thing with different clothes on and different colors. And I don't know. Like I said, this might be blasphemous to some artists, but I don't understand the value of that. The art I get, and even that took me a while to, because I'm buying a digital piece of art. But then I thought, okay, artists make money. That's great. But yeah, the Bored Ape yacht, it's called the Yacht Club, first of all, which is absolutely wild to me. But there you go. All right. Yeah, okay. I feel like maybe we have the same sort of feelings about this. But
we're right on the same page.
Yeah. But artists, get your money, man. Go get your money. I mean, everyone else, you can go fuck off, but all right, now let's I wanted to get into a couple more of your pieces, especially some of here. I was calling it OBJKT and it's object. I feel like a complete idiot after saying that.
It completely happens.
But you know what, I think I found the first piece of yours that made me notice you. Okay, and this is on your website on Fifth Step on a Big Cartel, and it's called Mirage. Now, this was either the first one or one of the first ones that I saw, but I have no words for this one because you could see the subject there, and he's walking through the sand, and he's shrunk like Alice in Wonderland around all these butterflies and flowers. And I thought this is what I thought was a painting until I found out you were a collage artist. But this is the one that I think that really got me hooked, and I've been retweeting everything you tweet ever since because of it,
which I appreciate greatly.
It's awesome stuff. Now, is there now you say you don't glue all of them down when you create them? What?
Yeah, that one in particular was one of the first ones I started using the pressed flowers on.
Okay.
And I definitely can't glue the pressed flowers onto the paper without a litany of problems happening.
Oh, sure. Hold on, wait. These are like actual flowers.
Those are real flowers, yes.
Oh Jesus. Oh,
real flowers.
Even more incredible.
Thank you very much.
That is crazy.
This was when I was really trying to push the envelope of what collage could be.
Yeah.
And I feel like I did it. I'm very proud of myself and the flower pieces. They're not very easy to make. It's not easy to source the flowers.
Okay.
But
sure. Yeah.
I just wish that I could glue them. It's sad that I can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you'll notice a theme throughout my work where you're not going to see people's faces, and you're never going to see the subject be that large. You're going to, I try to make it very ambiguous in a way that you can be a part of the collage. You can insert yourself into this world and spend a little time, maybe leave a little something there,
Yeah.
And that's how I've always looked at it, because that's what I feel the collages are to me. When I'm done with it, I feel like I've left a little something in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah, no, that's great, because I like how I can see if I didn't know someone posted a collage and it was yours, I feel like I could tell it was yours, because the way that you paint a scene, I guess, not really paint, but the way that you put a scene together, it's very original. And like you said, yeah, and now that I see it, you're right. You don't show faces. It's all little character, great big scenery. And that makes so much sense to me that you can be a part of this. You could, because you could see yourself like the Mirage one, just walking through the desert, and it could be anyone. That is great. Yeah, that's a nice insight.
I try to keep literally every little bit of character that you could put into the people away from it too. You'll see a lot of people in tuxedos, because I just feel like that's the most ambiguous thing that you could do.
Yeah.
You'll see a lot of people, and almost yeah, no one's ever going to be facing forward. Usually they're always looking at the scenery. And I mean, I love picking these little characters. It's like it's almost always the last thing I do.
Okay. Okay. So you set the scene first and then, okay.
Yeah. Sometimes I know like the character is going to be involved in this, but you'll see a lot of like reused samples. I like to have motifs.
Okay.
I like to compose scenes in like a similar way, which you've said, like, and thank you for the high compliment of, you know, it's hard to be like originally unique in collage.
Okay.
Especially to have someone be like, oh, this is a Phib collage. That's something that subconsciously I've always wanted. That's beautiful.
No, that's great.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm on your object page, and I see three. There's one called a calm, surrounded by colors. It looks like it could be sort of the same place that you created. Now, do you have like a series, or would you ever think about making a series like that where it's just one particular world and just different scenes in it? Because that's kind of what I get from this one. Because it feels like if someone were taking a picture of this, you know, of this planet, and it looks like they took these two in the same place. Now, is there how do I say it? Well, I guess it is all kind of one world. I mean, the world that you created. Okay. I think I just answered my own question.
Yes, but also I have had that idea to like kind of, I could do like the same background for like a run of like 10 collages and be like, look at all the places on this planet.
Yeah.
Or like all these scenes happening at the same time. Like I'm very interested in how, like, you know, life just keeps going without you. Shit's not about you. If you go into the woods for a year and you come back out, you're going to walk back to people doing the same shit. And it's like, it's cool to think, it's cool to know, like, I guess through displaying that in collage, like you can be simultaneously enjoying the same thing so far away from people, and your enjoyment of it doesn't mean shit, and neither does the person over there. I mean, it really just kind of boils down to, like, I guess I'm kind of talking into nothing right now.
No, I get
but
you.
There's a certain beauty to like not really thinking that the impact of you looking at this beautiful collage is that big, or being like, and that's what the ambiguity is supposed to be like. You go into the collage and you put your own meaning to it, and you decide if it's a pretty collage.
Oh, that's great.
I definitely focus really hard on trying to have a beautiful color palette.
No, absolutely.
And it can be hard. And it's tough because I'm colorblind, so I try to.
Whoa, wait a minute, hold on. You put all these together, and that blows my mind even more. Okay, continue. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's not like it's debilitating. I've spent my whole life thinking I see green and red really well, but I don't.
Okay.
So it's like I've tried to learn the way that I like to work with color through collage, because the colors are already there. And I take that to painting, and I try to relate that as best as I can in a way that I understand. Because just going into a painting and working with color can be very discouraging. But
I get
you
it.
know, through collage, I can make sense of colors by just kind of, it's just so fast. I know what works and doesn't work next to each other in an instant, and that's invaluable. A lot of times I did this thing where I was like, if this doesn't fully look good to me, I think I'm just going to run with it because it might look really good to people that see normally. And that honestly has worked out.
That's great. That's a great way to see it. Because I wouldn't have known in a million years. Oh, that's great. You know, I wanted to say something about what you were saying earlier about how the world keeps moving on without you, no matter what. Like your impact. I mean, obviously, unless you're like, you know, some sort of dictator or something, but your impact on the world,
yeah,
is a very small part of what's going on. Because I go to there's this park here in LA, Griffith Park. It's a huge park, big giant park, like, in the middle of the city, and I go hiking up there, and you can hike up to this certain point where I go, and you can see like clear to the ocean. Like on a clear day, you can see there's Catalina Islands. It's like it's off the coast. It's not super close, but you can see it down there. So it overlooks all of Los Angeles. You see downtown Los Angeles. You can see like where Beverly Hills is, all the way down to Catalina, and everything is moving. Everything is going, and it really makes me think, oh, I am just one part of this big giant machine. And you know, maybe that's what attracted me to your art is these giant landscapes and tiny subjects in them, because I mean, I understand that feeling. I understand that I'm just a small part of this world, and that's great.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe that's like, you know, maybe that's a bigger thing about what connects people to my art than I really have ever made it out to be.
Yeah.
I've always wanted it to feel diminutive, but
yeah,
I feel like people are really connected to that level of like hopeless loneliness or hopeful loneliness. I mean,
okay.
Because there is like a lot of times as I get older, you know, I used to explore a lot and just go out in the woods and just find a bunch of cool shit.
Yeah.
And I'd go home and I'd be so happy with all those experiences. Just me experiencing them, not expressing them outwardly. And as I get older, you know, like I can't go to beautiful places without feeling like I need to share it, or I need to experience it with someone, or I need to capture it in some way. And I don't really like that feeling. It kind of ruins the experience for me. And maybe I'm subconsciously like fighting that. But I don't know. Maybe. I don't try to nail down exactly like what I'm going for a lot of the times, because I feel like that sets up too much of a precedent.
No, you're right.
I have a process that works. I stick to it.
Stick to it. Yeah, that's great. That's fine. Yeah, you know what? Minnesota is a place too, because I'm a big, like, being in LA, in a huge city. Like, I love the outdoors because everything around you is building out here. You know what I mean? Unless you drive somewhere. And so when I went to Minnesota, that's, you know, one thing like my family does. All right, we're gonna do all like the nature shit. So we went to like Minnehaha Falls, and then we went to, I forget the name of the park, but so the Mississippi River runs through it. And I remember thinking, oh geez, I didn't realize it went this far north. I maybe I wasn't paying attention in geography class, but yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. That's the place to go see nature, man. I love it. It didn't snow when I was out there. I was kind of disappointed, but yeah. All right. So
you didn't miss out on one.
Yeah. That's the one good thing about California. I can go drive like 2 hours north and it'll be like a snowstorm, which is pretty cool. And then go to the beach and it's 75 degrees. Yeah, it's great. So what made I wouldn't say the switch, but what got you into painting more than collage? And have you posted any of your paintings on Twitter? Because I don't think I've seen them.
I have. I've posted. I just started releasing them like a month ago. Okay. I've posted about 4 or 5. So I mean, you'll see them more. But they're out there. I sold 2 of them actually, which was great because I haven't had that much luck selling them, which is completely fine because I just started. I've been painting for like 3 years now, 3 or 4 years now, and every year my style seems to get a lot different. I just like it more. It's way more of a active activity. It kind of feels like a battle. I pretty much
Yeah.
just like, I like cooperate and fight and have like a boxing match with my paintings until I feel like I'm inspired by it and I've done something that I am proud of or taught me something about my painting. It's weird. I'm just kind of painting for catharsis in a way.
Okay.
And I definitely like am not trained as a painter or anything. And I kind of don't want to know how to paint. I just want to know how to paint in my own style.
Yeah. No, that's
I don't
good.
know. There's this just there's this pursuit for visual excellency in my head.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it'll ever end. But
yeah. No, that's great. No, that you'll never stop. It's great.
I have these fuzzy ideas of just like seeing this beautiful piece of art that I made. There's no good idea of what it looks like, but like it's just little moments where hopefully I can like look at a piece that I made a year or two ago and be like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, and that used to happen with my music where I would go and listen to something that I made 2 years ago and be like, I feel very validated with myself. This doesn't need to be like I didn't need to make money off of this. I didn't need this to get 1,000 or 1,000,000 views, plays, whatever. I just am happy that I was able to make this and I can go back and view on it and feel proud of myself for just creating something and not accomplishing something, just creating.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's true, because I think people do get lost in that. It's you know, they make something that they think is, you know, the greatest thing ever, and waiting for validation, waiting for likes, waiting for 1,000,000 comments, and that can crush somebody. I mean, I've seen it. There was this artist I used to follow on Twitter, and he would say how he's not getting likes, you know, and things like that. And he was being discouraged. And the last thing he told me was, or not told me, but the last thing I saw him post was, my dad thinks my art looks evil. And then he disappeared from the face of the planet. And I've never seen this guy. I can't even remember his name. I had remembered, I was trying to find him and I couldn't find it. But I like the way that how you described it, that just the creating and finishing the creation is, I mean, that's a feat in and of itself, because just to get from start to finish, it's tough, especially something like the music. I understand it's with 1,000,000 musicians in the world, it's going to be hard for you to stand out, especially if you're trying to copy like the sound that's popular. You're going to get lost in the sauce for sure. No one's going to hear you unless you do something wild, which is, you know, the age of the internet. That's the, you know, I sound like an old man, but growing up in the 90s, that's the one thing I miss, is everyone not having a camera in front of their face and doing either dumb shit or telling you how great they are. You know what I mean? Like, it was more ambiguous, which was great. Yeah.
People were way more off their rocker in the 90s. Like when you talk to a random person on the street, I just remember like you never know what kind of vibe they're on. They could be so far left field, and I feel like everybody's a little bit tighter nowadays.
Yeah. Oh,
everybody's way more concerned about, like, if you're freaking out, it's like A, B, or C. It's not like the whole alphabet anymore.
Yeah. You're absolutely right about that.
I miss, like, St. Paul used to be like so much gayer, and you would see so much like people like in very flamboyant outfits.
Yeah.
And you don't see that anymore. And I know it's just like just hate and discouragement.
Yeah.
And like, and it's same to say with like just weirdos, and like St. Paul used to probably be a lot more like Portland, and in like modern day Portland, where it's like, you know, it's a freak show of sorts.
Yeah.
A good one.
Yeah.
And like an embraced one. And I kind of miss that dynamic. And I feel like the older we get, the more people are just freaking out about.
Yeah, you're right. Like the same, you know, 4 things. Yeah.
Key topics.
Yeah. You know, that is because of Twitter. I mean, Twitter's a great thing, but then you can be angry about something and it's trending, and then you could find a million other people that are angry about the same dumb thing that you're angry about. No, I totally understand it. You see, it's funny when people talk about Hollywood. This is what you don't understand. Hollywood in the 90s, like you would get robbed. Like you might get shot in Hollywood. It was not a safe place to be. Even when like in the early 2000s, when I was like, 20, 21, going to bars and clubs, it is not the same as it is today. The hipsters really took over. I mean, they took over a lot of cities in California, but that like authenticness, even like the arts district where I lived, it's hipster central now, where there is, a brewery across the street where I used to live that used to be like an art studio and all kinds of other dumb stuff. But yeah, it's a different time, man. But the thing that I do love, I mean, as far as art goes, because I mean, it is one of my favorite things to do. Like I've got a lot of downtime at my, my real job. and so I go on Twitter and I look at art and, I retweet and it's been great for that because before that, you had to go to a museum. You had maybe an art show roll through. Like there's actually the LA art show is coming up soon in a couple of weeks. I'm going to go, but now you could, like, I'm talking to you right now, because I found your art on I found your art on Twitter, which is great.
Very true.
Yeah. And that, it goes to show that, with the improvements in technology and just, I mean, how easy it is to live now as compared to even a time like the 90s. There's still some goodness in it, but in art, I've seen a lot of, and I hate talking about things like this because I'm not an artist, that sort of artist, but there's so many talented people. And I hate to bring it back to the CryptoPunk shit, but it feels like there's been sort of an invasion of unauthentic people, coming into this space because I could make a ton of money, which is, I don't think is the point for artists and why they create for the most part. And it's a little upsetting to see.
I hate to see, but it was obviously probably going to happen no matter what, but just crypto in general being co-opted, and art within that being co-opted as a way to just make a bunch of money. It does make sense, and it's like the logical progression, sadly enough. But I mean, if you think about it, in the late stage of the art market is like Jeff Koons and Damien Hirst and artists that make way, way too much money off of bad art that they didn't even make. And I will go on record and disparage both of them. I'm fine with that.
Not Jeff Koons.
No. It's just like Damien Hirst has made $1 billion doing single drops, and the art that he was selling during those drops is not good. and he says that he didn't make it. He says that he doesn't even feel like he needs to make it as long as he likes it at the end. And I'm like,
wild.
It's just it's a weird dynamic. And I don't see, and I honestly see that as more disparaging to the art market as a whole than people being successful doing one of ones or even just edition art as artists on NFTs while competing against the crypto bros. I feel like competing against crypto bros that are just making a bunch of money is fine, because there will probably be a renaissance of art that pushes the crypto bros that just made a bunch of money to invest back into artists. And you see it happening with certain artists. And like we've both circled back to, like, I'm always happy to see artists get paid. But if we have to fight a war against crypto bros and bad art to just like be a part of the conversation, it's a sad but I guess necessary part of the evolution of the internet.
It's disheartening. I went on this graffiti street tour which is kind of wild. In the neighborhood I lived in downtown, right? But I wanted, a guide to, to tell me who made everything, and just all the other stuff that I had noticed even when I was younger that I didn't, I couldn't put a name to the creation.
Yeah.
And so I was on the tour with this guy who's a graffiti artist, super nice guy, very informative, used to live down there in the early 90s. And he was saying how all of these people are coming in, putting in restaurants and boutiques and all kind of crap in this place that artists had been moving to since the 70s, because it was cheap to live down there. I mean, I'm talking like not too far from Skid Row. If you know where Skid Row is, it wasn't a place people wanted to be. And so they're buying these buildings, or not even buying, they're renting these buildings and painting over all of these murals. And yeah, blows my mind. Or he says he gets a lot of artists that are I guess I hate to put quotation, artists who are from places like Calabasas and Beverly Hills. I mean, we're talking about people with money, and then they come drive down to the slums. And I mean, it's not so much a slum now, but driving down there in like Ferraris, like doing their art or something, and taking a bunch of pictures, and and they're doing it for the like. They're filming the whole journey, driving from the hills. And
it's like YouTube vlog.
Yeah. And he was, I don't want to say he was upset. I mean, I could tell he was probably more upset that he was letting on, but it's very trendy thing to do now, I think, to go somewhere that's poor, where they have all of this great art to begin with. We had, he was telling me how about some new guy is copying this guy who's in his 70s, who's been making art downtown for decades, and just blatantly copying his work. And so they cross it out whenever they see it, which is absolutely great. But I do feel like there is a renaissance of sorts amongst real artists. I mean, or maybe that's just how I kind of curated the artists that I follow on Twitter and Instagram. But I do feel like because of everyone is so connected now, that it's easier to at least get the eyes on you that you might not have before. Like my dad, if my dad was, a younger man right now, it would be a lot easier for him to get his art out there, because I remember he was in the LA Art Show one time. I'm not sure how much money he paid to get in there, but I'm sure it was a good amount of money. But you would have to like scrounge up money to do something like that, just for the people that are there that day, at the convention center to see it, and it's the great thing about, this whole connected world is if it's good, I think the people will see it. It might take some time. It might take the right person, looking at it and retweeting it to see it. But I think eventually it will get seen. And I've seen that. I've seen people that I started following with like 500 followers, and you look a few months later and it's like 5,000 followers. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
It's nice the way that works nowadays, because I do see good art get seen. Yes. And in the early days of the internet, there was always this old proverb that's like, your favorite artist's favorite artist has like 500 followers.
Yeah.
And nowadays, I hope that that's not as true as it used to be.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I've always been a firm believer of like, if I like the art that I'm making, it has to be representative of other people's interests in the art. And you don't need to complicate it much past that.
Yeah.
Because it's true. I mean, like what we were saying earlier, is like our minds aren't thinking that much different nowadays.
Yeah.
Like if you like the art yourself, be proud of that. Be proud of your ability to like your own art, and go share it with confidence.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of people get hung up on sharing and releasing art and having these expectations that it's going to do anything. I still am completely fine if my tweet gets 20 likes of a collage, and I'm not that much extra excited if it gets 1,000 or 2,000. at this point, I'm just like happy that people are seeing it regardless.
Yeah.
I
Have you
value
had any
people.
trouble with people stealing your art and claiming it as their own?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I don't get lost in it. I don't really care.
Yeah. Yeah.
As I'll send you a DMCA if you're like selling prints and stuff, but I'm pretty sure there's like 2 or 3 people that just pretend to be me on different platforms.
It's so weird. That is
Like,
so strange.
I get messaged a lot. I found your art on Tumblr. I've never been on Tumblr.
People still use Tumblr. I didn't know that.
I saw this on Pinterest. You did?
Wild. That is so wild. Oh man.
It happens. I mean, it's not.
Yeah.
It's nice, to be honest. Like I don't really care.
Yeah. Yeah. For someone to, want to claim it as their own, I can see the, how that can make you feel, but I'd still be absolutely pissed off. That blows my mind.
I mean, there's just not a whole lot you can do about it. So
yeah, that's true. And I'm not sure if this is an issue with the crypto market or NFTs in general, but if someone takes your work and mints it and it sells, like, do you get that money? Like, is there any sort of claim you can do there? Because I feel like it could be like anyone could do that, which is a horrible thing.
it is a problem in the market, and it does happen. But sites are getting better and better at dealing with DMCA claims.
Yeah,
and just kind of they already have like a system where, like, let's say you wanted to upload a Bored Ape Yacht Club and sell it.
Yeah,
it would stop you from doing that. And hopefully in the future it'll be the same with one of one art.
Yeah. Okay.
Is this already verified on the blockchain? That would be cool, because there's already image searchers around that work just fine.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So it is a problem, but it's not like it's a new problem.
Oh, that's true. That's true. People have been selling art for years. That's true. Okay.
And to be honest, I kind of, between you and me,
just
the people that are doing copy minting, it's kind of like a lot of them are doing it just in straight protest of like how they don't like NFTs.
Oh, right.
And they're just like making some money off of this wild landscape.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of tight in a small way. I don't like seeing people's art get stolen.
Yeah.
But I like a good protest.
Yeah. Oh, I get it.
I don't know. I know I can't defend this claim. If I was attacked by the mob for saying this, I would just be like, yeah, I'm wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I'm totally wrong.
Never said it. Yeah. Okay. So is there a scene out there where you live? Like an art scene of young artists such as yourself, or is it a isolated thing?
There was. It was a music scene that was pretty strong, and that's where like I got my grips in like the town. I've shown like 5 times around the city.
Okay.
But and last year, in the wake of the George Floyd killing, and there was a big call out your abuser renaissance, and pretty much 50% of the scene in the music and the art was just called out as abusers and pieces of shit, rapists, the whole nine.
Yeah.
And the scene has since just fell flat. And it's not really for me to rebuild,
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of leaving it up to the youth at this point.
Yeah.
And the scene is like, I have a following. I'm in the city. I have some connections. I'm here to help. Yeah. But I'm not going to be the one to like put the city on my shoulders or something. Some God complex shit.
Yeah. I got it.
I mean, this artist loft used to be like, I live in Lower Town, which is supposed to be the nice art district of St. Paul, and I live in a subsidized, or it used to be subsidized, artist loft where you have to be a practicing artist and struggling too. You can't make that much money to live here.
Oh.
And that since has stopped. My rent went up. My neighbors are no longer artists.
Really?
Nobody around here seems to be an artist. They just like the lofts.
Yeah. It sounds like downtown LA. Yeah, man.
Yep. It's really not much
that.
different. Minnesota used to be way further behind y'all, and now it's not.
Yeah. Now it's the same. Yeah. Uh-huh. Wow. Oh, yeah, that's terrible.
And there's three.
Uh-huh. I'll go for
Yeah,
it.
there's like 3 or 4 other districts that are happening the same thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's sad.
Yeah, it is sad. You know, it's so sad for me to see neighborhoods change over the years. It's funny because I always say the 2 places that haven't changed down here, or at least, you know, the places that I go and visit are Chinatown, which looks exactly like it did when I was a kid, and West Hollywood, because there will always be rich gay men in West Hollywood, and they'd keep that shit tight. It looks great. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, West Hollywood and Chinatown look exactly the same.
You know, that makes perfect sense to me. That makes perfect sense to me.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, awesome. So, do you plan on staying in Minnesota? Have you had any thoughts about, I don't know, going to any other coast or even moving? I mean, might not be the best time to move out of the country, but I mean, to be somewhere else than you are now.
Yeah, I've thought about this a lot, and I talk about it like daily or weekly. Minnesota winters suck. They just make you really depressed. They keep you inside your house. It's tough. It's tough to, like, I work really hard usually in the summer. Like if I'm not directly working on art, I'm usually thinking about art, or I'm really trying to decompress away from it. Like, I haven't made a piece of art other than some sketches for paintings in like a week and a half, and that is way too long for me. Yeah. And I've tried to make some collages, they just don't turn out, and my motivation to do anything is just low. This is like the longest. I don't even look good right now. It's difficult to be an artist here, not just because there's the lack of a scene. It's in the summer, it's really nice and it's hot, and you want to enjoy that. In the winter, it's shitty, and you're supposed to be working hard, but you can't.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've thought about moving to just about everywhere. Yeah. I have a great family, and
yeah,
I'm trying to milk that out as much as I can, but it is quickly approaching my time to just at least try somewhere else or do something else, which is fine. I've been looking at the West Coast a lot.
Oh, really?
But okay. I also don't have. No. I visited Seattle with my mom over this summer, and it's beautiful there, but way too expensive. Yeah. It also feels like a weird city. Like, there's no danger in the city.
Yeah.
And I don't like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah. It's so funny you say that. The city I live in now is completely different from where I grew up. It's like super safe down here. And like during the the beginnings of the lockdown, I would just go like walk around. Like, they shut off a couple streets in like the downtown area in the city I'm at, because there's a lot of restaurants and stuff there. So they don't let cars go through. So they just shut them off so people can, walk through and go to all these shops. They did a good job of helping them to keep open for as long as it could. And I'm walking around, it's like 11:30 at night, and this is maybe the safest I've ever been in my entire life. Yeah, I like a little grime to the city,
Yeah.
But hey,
it doesn't change. I mean, and maybe that's just something I need to unlearn, but
yeah, no,
I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable feeling too safe in a
Yeah, no, I get exactly what you're saying. I understand exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just so expensive. Like, I understand why, everybody is priced out of that city, and it's just for tech dudes.
Yeah.
And
that sucks.
Yeah. But I mean, Portland is on my radar. There's a lot of places on my radar, if I'm being honest. But it really just has to do with money and what feels right, and where I have a community.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
I have
thinking
a,
about. I don't know.
I
I
have a
was
bunch
thinking
of,
about Portland, and yeah, that seems like a cool city to live. I don't
it
know.
really does. They
Yeah.
definitely don't have a fine art scene though. Like trying to sell big paintings for a lot of money.
Oh
They
yeah.
might not like me there.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. You might have to be in like L.A. or New York for that.
Yeah, I have friends that always try to tell me to move to LA,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
You grew up in LA, so
Yeah.
is it worth it?
I'm very biased. I absolutely love LA. Like I hear all the bad things that people say about Los Angeles, and let me say this, right? People think they have an idea of what a person who lives in LA is like, right? They
Hmm.
think it's Hollywood, they think it's Beverly Hills, they think it's Calabasas. It is absolutely not that. And if you come down here thinking that, you're gonna lose your shit. And I feel like a lot of people that do move here that think like that, like ruin the city. All right. Like if
Hmm.
I could deport anyone, I deport all of these transplants that came here thinking they know how to behave in Los Angeles. Like if you're
Yeah,
just a regular person, you'll be fine. And a little secret too: if you move just a little outside of LA, it's much cheaper and not that much further. Because if you have a car, you can get anywhere. I mean, you really do need a car, but it's
yeah.
not. LA proper is a big city. Just LA County is huge, but you can
Hmm.
get around. And you could, I mean, it might be like an hour drive to get into the main city, but you can find somewhere cheap to live. That's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I feel that.
that's my take. It's a great place to be. It's a great city. You could be in LA at the beach and then go drive, like I said, 2 hours, go snow, and then go up even a little bit more further and be in a totally different climate. It's great. It's great. And
Yeah,
now, granted, I've been thinking about going other places, but I already know I'm gonna eventually end up back here, just
yeah.
because. Yeah, because here in the 90s was a pivotal era for Los Angeles. We're talking about a lot of music that I was listening to. Everyone was from LA, and I remember when pot became legal out here. Or medical marijuana became legal. I was maybe
Hmm.
in like this, I want to say like 1996, 97. So I was in
Hmm.
elementary school. And I remember going to the Venice Boardwalk. And
Uh-huh.
this was the first time I'd seen like fake doctors asking you if you if you have ailments that require a medical license to get a card. So so yeah, there was a lot of cataracts and insomnia happening on
Tons
the
of
Venice
glaucoma.
boardwalk. Yeah. Oh yeah, it was great. Yeah, I had glaucoma for years. Yeah.
For years.
Oh, that's great.
It's
Right.
funny. That's got to be a trip.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was great. And yeah, it's a little bit of that like the juice has been sucked out of the city a little bit, but I
Mhm.
mean, if you meet anyone that was born here, like and raised here, that still lives down here, it's a different person than you would imagine.
And I can see that too.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh,
Definitely. I mean, Minnesota is like the land of people that like to leave.
yeah.
Like you'll see there's like hot spots for people from Minnesota. Like we love to move to LA and New York and Colorado.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. Like
That's it.
it's just it's night and day. We do it all the time. And like
Yeah.
even when I go visit Colorado, I will meet Minnesotans all the time.
Really? Wow. No
Yes.
way. That is nuts. Yeah. Oh, that's funny you said that. Maybe about a week ago, I was wearing this sweater I bought in Minnesota that said Minnesota. And this guy comes up to me and he was like, "Are you from Minnesota?" I was like, "No, I just went there." I was like, "Are you from Minnesota?" He was like, "Yes." I was, he was a cheerleader at well, I guess which is Minnesota, was at the Golden Gophers, and he was telling
Uh-huh.
me about it. I was like, "Oh, it's funny you said that." Yeah, I did meet a man from Minnesota about a week ago. It's great.
I used to be the cannon man for the Gophers.
Oh, you
They
were.
had this every time they scored a goal, they would pull this cannon and it would shoot
Uh-huh.
off a big loud thing. My grandpa
Uh-huh.
started the program and I carried it on for a little while. And
Oh,
then they
that's great.
disbanded it.
Oh, did
They
they?
they were like, no, we're not gonna do this anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's liability. We're
Yeah.
like, all right,
Yeah.
yeah, that's whatever.
Makes sense. Yeah, no, there's a bar down. I don't know if it's still there called the Golden Gopher by some guy. I think some guy from Minnesota put it down there. Nice bar. Cool bar. I'm a little too old for it now, but yeah.
I mean, I think just yesterday I was joking with my friends, like, what is high school like in LA? Like, it's got to be wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what is
no, you know what? I went to
LA?
Catholic school, so not as wild as you'd think. But and also I would like to say this. You know what people say about Catholic school girls? It's not true. Okay. It's just the girls you meet, all right? Because I could say the same thing about public school girls. But no, Catholic school was great. I mean, you got 30 kids in your class, you know, it was very small. But yeah, I go to a lot of house parties in LA, a ton of them, from the ages of like 15 until you're old enough to go to a club or a bar like that. But growing up down here was absolutely great, man. People are more laid back. That is one true thing. If you're from here, you're probably real chill, unless you live in like Palm Desert where it's like 110 degrees, you know, you might feel different, but
that makes sense.
Great. Yeah.
That makes sense. I can only imagine that you have to develop a good level of chill to survive the ecosystem.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because downtown especially, that's where hospitals were getting in trouble for dumping patients just like out on the street, right? Like they couldn't pay for it, or like people that needed like real like mental health care, just dumping them on the street. So you'd see people with hospital gowns on. I saw a van push a guy out with a hospital gown on. I'm thinking, this is absolutely nuts. So to live down there, and then you've got Skid Row, and then you've got, you know, there's some drug dealers and there's prostitutes, and it's kind of like this is how it was back then. You don't bother anyone, they don't bother you. And that's how I live my life.
It's the best virtue ever.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Just, you know, keep mind your own business and you'll be good to go. Or was there anything else you'd like to say? I mean, I could keep going on forever, but I'd imagine you've got
I should probably start getting ready for my I gotta get ready for my grandma's her boyfriend, my grandma's boyfriend said that he has this really old bottle of wine, and I know a bit about wine. So he was like, "Do you think this is good? It's from 1930." And I'm like, not a lot of bottles from 1930 are good. Like, very, very few. So he tells me that it's a dessert wine from Bordeaux called a Sauterne from like their greatest chateau called the Kemp. And it's like one of the very few wines that would last that long. And we're going to drink it tonight.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to ask when it skunk out after all that time, when it had gone bad, but no.
It should, but I mean, Decem, the way that dessert wine in Bordeaux is made, it can go for pretty much as long as it could go 400, 500 years if it's, you know, kept right. Yeah. Dessert wines are cool. Dessert wines are really cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm very, very excited about this once in a lifetime opportunity today.
All right. Yeah. Let's drink some 1930s wine. Oh, before we go, I just wanted to say to everyone, when I messaged you, and you told me what time we would do it because you were going to have dinner with your grandma, that was the coolest response I've ever gotten. That is awesome. All right, that's fine. Have dinner with your grandma. That's excellent. Tell grandma and her boyfriend I said hello.
That's what you do in Minnesota. Hang out with grandma.
That's great. That is great. No, I love that.
Well, do you have any last questions or anything?
I think we all got to it. Oh, other than how can the people reach you? I mean, I'm gonna put all your handles and websites down here, but is there a place you'd like people to find you at?
Well, I mean, just my socials.
Yeah, Twitter.
I mean, it just depends what you're looking for. If you have any business inquiries, I usually hit my business line. I always am sorry if it take a while to get back to my DMs. I get overwhelmed quickly and can be slow.
Oh, it's fine. That's life.
So just know that if I ever don't get back to your DM, anyone's for a couple of days, it's not a personal thing.
Awesome. All right, man. I'm gonna let you go. Thank you so much for doing this again, Phib.
Absolutely.
You have a good one.
Thank you for having me.
Oh,
Thank
no
you.
problem.
Take care, man.
See ya.